So, Mark, a lucky traveler won $1.3 million on the Wheel of Fortune slot machines at the airport. These look like really old Wheel of Fortune machines. I wonder if this is one of those cases where the progressive has to hit before they are able to pull them out. But 1.3 million, that's better than the $1 million win that we talked about last week where the guy was betting $500 a hand.
Yeah. Yeah, and the weird thing is I've heard from people that they think the machines at the airport are better than you'll get in the casino and stuff. And I think we've talked about this before, but I have a lot of questions like, did they win this as they landed or are they flying out? And which would you prefer? Would you rather be like, hey, I got a ton of money, let's go have some fun in Vegas? Or would you rather be like, good thing I'm leaving so I don't blow all this, you know?
Yeah, that'd be pretty dangerous. 1.3 in your pocket just to have your whole weekend in Vegas ahead of you. Can you imagine like all the trouble you could get into knowing that? Yeah, better to have it on the way out so you can go home and be responsible.
I'd probably like just book a flight and turn right back around and say, hey, I won. I'll see you guys later. Have a good time.
Speaking of the airport, I just got back to Las Vegas after being gone for 7 weeks, and I was walking around baggage claim, and who do I see but none other than Chris Angel welcoming me back.
That wasn't the real him. I thought like his show was doing so poorly that he was now Tom Hanks living in the terminal.
Big news on the Las Vegas Strip this week. The Venetian and the Palazzo, now owned by Apollo, have decided that they're going to start negotiating with the unions, or they're not going to try to block the unions. Now, Venetian Palazzo are owned by Las Vegas Sands. Sheldon Adelson was very sort of, I don't want to call him anti-union, but he didn't get along with the unions too well, and he managed to keep them off these properties. These are the last two on the Strip that are not unionized. So they are now going to vote for union organization. Most likely will become union shops for the culinary union, bartenders union, Teamsters, operating engineers local. So 4 different unions coming in. I think this is just an inevitable sign of progress. And not a surprise, Apollo has worked with the unions at other proproperties before.
I'm all for the unions coming in just so we can get the mobsters back to save Vegas. Can we do that?
There you go. I don't know, but, at least we'll have high-paid bartenders and cocktail servers. It's been an interesting thing over the years with these battles with the unions and the casino companies. Of course, with that Trop Stadium deal, a lot of the sort of rumors around that were that the culinary union helped to get that blocked because that land was owned by Station Casinos or Red Rock Resorts, who has been anti-union and tried to prevent the union from organizing in their casinos. So a lot of power here.
Yeah, I wish they, I know the union doesn't really control hiring and all that stuff, but the fact that they don't have enough people in the union, or at least people that want to work these jobs, and they're still shorthanded in so many hotels and casinos and stuff, is kind of blows my mind. So I wish they'd focus something on that, like put the energy into that somehow, recruiting people into the area, even though that's not like their main thing. Unless it's just the companies saying they're shorthanded, but are keeping it that way, to save money, which wouldn't surprise me at all.
All right, so let's talk trains for a second, and not the Bright Line high-speed rail from Los Angeles or your favorite city, Rancho Cucamonga, to Las Vegas. That
Yes.
is hopefully still moving along. They're still working for funding to get that started by the end of this year, so we'll keep an eye on that. But the Utah Department of Transportation put in for a grant. I think they got $500,000, which isn't a lot of money when you're talking about trains, to look into bringing rail service back between Salt Lake City and Las Vegas. This was actually offered through 1997, and in the press release, they note that it takes about 6 hours to drive between Salt Lake City and Las Vegas, and the train will take 7.5 to 9 hours. So what the heck are they doing? I mean, do we really need another slow Amtrak route coming back?
And it's not like they have a ton of stops. I think they had they listed like maybe 2 or 3 stops that they would add. So where are you losing the time here? And you've had your run-ins with Amtrak. That's a best case scenario. If a freight train or something along those lines, it's a complete mess. So unless you're getting a dedicated route with a high-speed train, I don't see really the point of it.
Yeah, it's a strange one, but yeah, there would be stops in Mesquite, St. George, and Cedar City in between Salt Lake City and Las Vegas. But again, it's going to take you 7.5 to 9 hours. It's a beautiful drive through Utah, and they have higher speed limits like 80 to 85 in certain areas. So with that, I would either fly because it's like a 45-minute flight, or drive. I don't know that I would take the train on this one.
Yeah, if they could get it down to 3.5, 4 hours, something like that, then I could see it being plausible. But by the time you go to the airport, go through security, all that stuff, even a 45-minute flight is like 3 hours. So you could just hop on the train and go. And it's nice. I enjoy riding on trains if you got to get work done or something. I could see why somebody would prefer it over driving, but still, until they get that time done, I don't really see it as a viable option long term.
Yeah, now I guess the good side of this is it could be done quicker because this is just using existing rail lines and stuff. So we'll keep an eye on that, but still holding out for Brightline in that high-speed rail to Rancho Cucamonga.
Yes, you keep saying it. Let's just the rest of the show.
So 4th of July is coming up, and there's events all over the city. I found a cool resource, vegasfamilyevents.com, that lists all the fireworks shows. They even list like where a good place to stand is. Like, for example, the strip fireworks being on the bridge between Horseshoe and Bellagio. A lot of good stuff for parks and stuff. So I'll put that down in the description. But Circa released information about their Star Spangled Glamour event. This is going to be at Legacy Club, 7 to 10 p.m. on July 4th. $125 a person, but it does come with food and open bar. And it seems like it'll be a full menu of cocktails there. And of course, those views from Legacy Club, perfect to see the fireworks next door at Plaza. So this looks like a cool event. But there are fireworks all over the city, Red Rock and Green Valley Ranch resorts on the Strip, all around in like local parks as well. So tons to do in town.
Yeah, I think the Circa deal, if you can get tickets to that, is a great offer. Food is probably going to cost you $30-$40 wherever you eat anyway. And then drinks, especially in the Legacy Club, are, a beer is like $10-$12. So a mixed drink, a specialty cocktail, you're looking at $25. So it wouldn't take much to get that money back if you're having a couple of drinks. And the view there is spectacular. You're gonna have like a bird's eye view of everything in the area. And I'll say, that's a great resource that you mentioned. Also, consider rooftop parking structures. Those are always good views for this type of stuff. So that's a good one for Bellagio fountains too. But it works just for fireworks as well.
For sure. So hopefully everybody has a great time out there. And if you do go to the Circa event, let us know. Hit us up on Twitter. So Vegas Confession shared an interesting $20 steak special. Now, this has been a thing that's really sad over the last few years is we've lost a lot of the good like value deals. Old Vegas used to have graveyard specials everywhere, usually good deals. I know South Point still has some. There's still some here and there, but it's not like what it used to be. That steak and eggs downtown at Binion's overnight used to be amazing. But this local bar, Jackson's Bar and Grill. Now, I think this place used to be called Woolly Bullies way back in the day, like 20 years ago. I've been to this place.
I like that
quite
name
a lot.
better.
Yeah, it got bought out, and then the owner named it after his nephew or something. But it's been around a long time. But I didn't know they had this $20 ribeye special. It's 24/7 and it includes a drink. It looks pretty good for the price. I mean, I don't know what the quality of the meat is, but Julian at Vegas Convention said it was pretty good. So if you're looking for it, it's on Flamingo, just a couple miles west of the Strip.
Yeah, it's a good one to keep in mind. Ellis Island's one that gets a lot of fanfare and talk. So this is something I hadn't heard about before either. And it looks like a massive steak. And like you said, you don't know what kind of beef they're using, what cut, if it's a good cut or not. But it looked fine. And for $20, can you really complain? Especially when you're getting a drink too. Like it'll soak up the booze. That's what you need.
And you longtime Las Vegas locals, was that Woolly Bullies? What was the name before it was Jackson's? It had to be 15, 20 years ago. Let's see if we can get somebody out there who remembers that. Flamingo and Jones. But yeah, give it a try. I might go over there one of these days and try it out if I'm in the area. So Mark Meltzer wrote a couple weeks ago on karaoke on the Strip. I think this is an interesting topic because back in the day, a lot of the casinos on the Strip had karaoke, especially like the 90s and the 2000s. I used to go do karaoke when I was in my early 20s at the Strat, which, I wasn't the greatest singer, and it was more about having fun and the characters that you would get. And as you got closer to like midnight, 1 a.m., it got pretty funky in there. So, it's a good atmosphere for karaoke. But there's some.
We talking about the smell or just the singing? It's getting funky.
The singing, the people, the smell, the everything. This is mid 2000s stratosphere. So, yeah, good times for sure. But there's other places. There's the piano bar at Harrah's. I saw that actually a few weeks ago when I was there. They have earlier in the night, they have karaoke. The barbershop at Cosmo has a karaoke band where you request songs. I don't know. Does that count as karaoke, Mark, where they're a band and you request the song and then they sing it? I think that's cheating.
Oh, when I was first reading through this, I figured like you get to sing with the band. I was like, that's the best karaoke ever because you're up there like a real performance. But yeah, that's lame. I don't know. And I've never noticed, at Harrah's, I've gone by the piano bar. a bajillion times, and it's always been dueling pianos. I've never actually seen the karaoke, so I was kind of surprised by that one.
I don't know. Maybe it is you go up and sing with the band. Maybe I misread that. People can let us know. There's also private karaoke at On the Record in Park MGM. We talked about their speakeasy. They have a lot of cool stuff there, but you can actually rent karaoke booths like you could do in many areas. And then the other kind of interesting ones, Ellis Island is known, of course, for karaoke for a long time. And Cat's Meow at Neonopolis. I went there a couple years ago. A really, really cool venue, and it's just for karaoke, but it's just like this, I don't know, very strange place. Seems like a cool place to go watch people sing. So karaoke lives on in Las Vegas.
That's like 24 hours a day too, Cat's Meow, right? And then I think that they have a camera so you can watch it at like any point online, and they have a big one in New Orleans as well. So that's kind of funny. If you're bored at like 3 a.m, just pull that up and check it out.
It's a really neat venue, and the favorite place I've gone to karaoke anywhere in Las Vegas. So check that out at Neonopolis, and I'll put a link in the description. Mark Meltzer has a great list of everything you can do if you're looking for karaoke on your next trip. So did you see that Dreamscape is back in the news with Rio? We've been asking when they're going to start this transformation. They closed off the buffet. We know that's going to be a food hall, but they finally announced this week that they've partnered with 4 luxury, design firms for the transformation, and that they're going to take control of Rio fully by the end of this year, that they're going to renovate completely the 2,500 guest rooms, 150,000 square foot casino, and they're going to have the 220,000 square foot of meeting and convention space. I'm not quite sure if they're changing any of that, but I think it's just all going to be refreshed. They're also going to redo the pool area, and they hired a fancy architect for landscaping and everything else. They're redoing the front entrance. So it does look like we're going to get a pretty big redo of the property, but there was no mention of Hyatt at all. So I wonder if that deal is still on the table.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. And there's not a lot of, it seems like their announcement from a couple years ago, like they're just like, hey, this is what we're going to do. No specifics or anything like that. But I wonder, now that we've heard about the A's and the rumors out there and all that, were they holding off all of this, hoping that they were getting the stadium and working out a deal there? And maybe that's what they were sitting on their hands for a bit for, because they didn't want to get started on stuff and then have to redo some of it or reconstruct areas because of the ballpark. So I wonder if that played a role. But yeah, we need to get this thing going. It definitely is a property that needs some love and attention, and it'll be cool. And if they can make it a cool pool area, that's another thing we've seen in Vegas is a lot of pool areas over time have become less and less like amazing and more standard. So if they could do that, I think that would be a big draw.
And one of the firms, in fact, the firm leading it up is Marnell Companies. And that had been rumored that they were involved, but they are the company that originally built and owned Rio. So everything comes full circle. And I think they're looking for a festive theme, lots of colors, but very modern. So with the limited information we have, we don't really know, but these are pretty high-end firms. So that's what you should expect, that luxury experience. That is what they announced previously. But again, we don't know if the Hyatt thing is still on the table because there was no mention of Hyatt at all in any of this. But assuming that they still have that contract going, we should start seeing some construction by the end of this year. And, Caesars is long gone. They're $9 rooms. I'm sure maybe rooms will go up to $20 now.
Yeah. Maybe we'll get some pillows. Bring some pillows in. That's number one. Go to Walmart, buy some pillows.
First order of business when they take over, buy the pillows. All right. And our big story this week is casino heists in real life. Apparently, this group of people have been going and stealing money from casinos by convincing employees that they need to go get the money. We talked about that story in Colorado last year where this happened. And apparently it happened at Circa just a week or so ago. And they stole $1.2 million, convincing an employee somehow that they needed for fire equipment, they needed this money, and they brought it down. The person took it somehow, and they haven't released this. They tracked them, and they were able to make an arrest in this case. But what's been breaking, and Vital Vegas has covered some of this, some of it's confirmed, some of it's not, but that perhaps 5 other casinos were robbed just in the last few weeks by this group of people. So we still don't know a lot about it, but apparently several casinos. Derek Stevens came out and said he can't comment on it, but it's pretty much confirmed that it happened at Circa for over $1 million. Insane.
Yeah, I mean, and they got $850K of it back, so at least they got most of it back. And, I don't know if the story helps, like, the lady that got conned out of the money. Like, usually they'll get some outpouring of, public attention and say, you can't fire her. We're normally, if you walk off property with $1 million, even if you think it's a thing, if you're scammed, you're probably going to get fired. So maybe she'll get to keep her job. It's kind of crazy. It's like those phone scams we hear about where people say they're the IRS, send me Target gift cards, and you're like, how could anybody fall for this? But your brain works differently when you're in that situation. I know you've talked about on the show your dad's situation having to happen, or at least I think you have, almost getting scammed for something similar. So they know how to work it, and they'll try enough people until they get there. But when you rip off 5 casinos, why aren't you getting out of country, going to somewhere that they can't extradite you and living off your millions? Like, how greedy are you?
And just to show you how serious they really are about this, Las Vegas locally leaked a memo from MGM Resorts to all their employees, talking to them about safeguarding from this scam. So I have to imagine these companies are going back, redoing all of their, their rules and how they handle this stuff and how they handle requests like this. You would think with that amount of money, you would have to have, double or triple redundancy, people signing off on stuff, but apparently not before now. And clearly these guys are professionals. They figured out the system. They're targeting specific employees and, they know how it all works. But it's crazy to think that they could pull this off over and over and over again. And the Circa case was just the first arrest. So we don't know, if it's going to happen again. Apparently, according to Vital Vegas, there's been several other attempts that were unsuccessful even since they made the Circa robbery.
Yeah, and what's really blows my mind is that at Circa it happened in 3 different chunks. Like, it wasn't like a one-time thing. So the fact that somebody walks out with a bag of cash 3 separate times on 3 separate occasions, and it doesn't, the numbers don't jump out to the accountant and nobody sees it on video. Like, okay, so should you just go work for a casino for a couple years and then walk out with $2 million and then get the heck out of town? Like, that's insane. You think that there's all these steps and rules and, all these double checks, triple checks, and it seems like somebody can just, if you're high enough up, you can just walk out with money, and it blows my mind.
Yeah, I think we'll see a lot of changes to the whole thing now. When it happened in Colorado, they're like, oh, that can't happen here. And then 5 casinos, apparently. We'll see if we'll ever get the names of them. And again, that's not confirmed, but we do know Circa is confirmed. That was already put out in place. We know MGM is trying to safeguard against it. So yeah, it's just another insane story. And I wonder if this is like a ring of people or just a small group, or, if the guy who got arrested was just like a low-level person and we still have this crime ring. I'm sure there's a lot that they are holding close to their chest, but it'll be interesting to see as this develops. And like you said, they were able to apparently just track the guy's car. So that makes me think that he wasn't the most sophisticated person. I don't know. That's a little suspicious. So we'll see if there's like a bigger thing to discover here as they do the investigation.
And I feel like I read that his bail was 25 grand. So, if you're stealing millions of dollars, I don't think your bail is going to be 25 grand if you're higher up in this arc of criminals, so who knows what actually is going on. And, Vegas news, they always kind of hide this stuff from us, which is sad to say.
But let us know what you guys think. Do you think this is a bigger thing? Have you heard of other similar robberies other than that Colorado one that follow this MO? Rio, what do you think is going to happen there? Are you excited that we finally got a confirmation of that new slow rail to Utah? Is that something you would ride? Hit us up in the comments. We do 2 shows a week.
Do you have a day to just burn?
It's a beautiful, beautiful part of the country, though. So I guess going by slowly on Amtrak isn't the worst thing. But let us know down below. We do 2 shows a week, Tuesdays and Fridays. And we'll be back in just a couple days with a new show. Thanks so much for watching. Talk to you next time.
Hey, Chris Angel was not harmed in the filming of this video. Thank you.